Okay, so now that we understand what Qubes is, why it's so secure, and why you might want to use it, if you're ready to take on this challenge, and if you have a computer that can support Qubes, then you can follow the instructions that I'm going to show you in this lecture and the next lectures to learn how to install Qubes. Now we have two options. We can first of all install it as a main operating system on the built-in storage of your computer, or we can install it on a USB stick as a live operating system. So, for now, we're going to need a USB stick with at least 8 gigabytes of storage. We will also obviously need to download Qubes. We're going to use Etcher, which is the same program that we used to flash Tails, so we're going to use it to flash the Qubes ISO image to the USB stick. And that way, we're going to have a bootable USB stick that contains the Qubes ISO image. At this stage, we have two options. We can either just simply connect it to a computer and install Qubes on that computer, on the built-in storage of that computer, just like any other operating system, so we'll be able to use it without even connecting the USB stick. Or you can use another USB stick of minimum size 32 gigabytes. And what we'll do in this case is we will flash a live version of Qubes to the new USB stick. And then we can use this new USB stick to boot into Qubes from any supported computer, regardless of what operating system this computer runs. So we can connect it to a Windows computer or Mac or Linux, and we'll be able to use Qubes on any of these computers. And once we disconnect the USB stick, the computers will be back to normal, running the default operating systems that they used to run. Now the installation steps are identical for both options, except for one small change, and I will highlight that change once we get to it. So, let's go back to the start. Everything that I'm going to show you from now on will be done on a Windows computer, but you can follow the exact same steps and use the exact same software that I'm going to use on Windows to install Qubes from any other operating system. So you can follow these steps from OS X and from Linux using the exact same software. If you face any issues, then please post them in the Q&A section and we'll respond to you within 15 hours. So, I have the Qubes official website open in here and I'm already in the downloads page. I will include this in the resources of this lecture, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to download this version right here. So all you have to do is just click on the ISO button in here. Now clicking on this will start the download for you. This is a 4.6 gigabyte file, so it's pretty big. That's why I've already downloaded it before this lecture. As you can see, I already have it downloaded here. The next thing that you want to download is the signature that's associated with the ISO image. We're going to download this because we're going to use it to ensure that the ISO image did not get modified by a third party as we downloaded, because as we said before, whenever you download something from the internet, it passes through a number of hops and it can be modified by a number of entities. Therefore, we're going to download the signature in order to use it to verify the integrity of the ISO image and make sure that the ISO image did not get modified since the developers of Qubes created the signature. So, to download the signature, we're going to right-click it and click on Save Link As. I'm going to put it in my downloads, and I'm just going to click on Save. And if I look in my downloads right here, you can see we have the signature file that we can use to verify the integrity. Now, the steps that I'm going to follow right now to verify the integrity are very similar to the steps that we followed to verify the integrity of Tor browser when we downloaded Tor. To do this, you can use PGP4Win. I already showed you how to download and install it in the lecture where we download the Tor browser and verify it. So I'm not gonna do it again. You can go back to that lecture and revise it and see how to download it and install it. I already have it downloaded and installed, and as you can see, the icon in here shows a lock icon, which means that the software, the PGP software, is already installed on this computer. Now, like I mentioned in that lecture, you can use a graphical user interface to verify the signature in here, but in my experience, the graphical interface is a little bit buggy. Therefore, I'm going to do it using the command prompt. Not only that, but the command prompt commands are identical to the commands that you'd use if you're using OS X or Linux. Therefore, you can follow the next steps on an OS X computer or on a Linux, and they should work exactly the same. Again, if you face any issues, post them in the Q&A and we'll respond to you within 15 hours. So let's go ahead and just make this window a little bit smaller. And I already have my command prompt open in here. If you don't remember how to open it, you just go to Start, type CMD, and run it. And in order to verify this file, first of all, we need to download the master key for the Qubes developers. To do that, we can actually just click on the question mark in here, beside the verify, and this will actually open a page with detailed instructions on how to verify the Qubes image. But like I said, the steps in here are very, very similar to what we followed when we verified Tor browser when we downloaded it. So, like I said, the first step is to add Qubes master key to the keyring. And to do this, we're going to use this command right here. So I'm literally just going to highlight it all, right-click, copy, and right-click in here to paste it. We're going to hit enter to download it. You might need to give this a little bit of time to download the key for you, so be a little bit patient with it. And perfect, as you can see now the key is imported. Next, we want to make sure that the key that we downloaded is actually the key for the Qubes developers. To do that, again, this is going to be identical to what we did with Tor browser. So first of all, we're going to copy the key here. So we highlight it, we hit enter to copy it, and then we're going to use GPG, the same command. We're going to say, I want the fingerprint of the key that I just copied. I'm going to hit enter, and we will get the fingerprint of this key. And we're going to scroll down on this page and compare it to the fingerprint that we have on the page itself. As you can see, the two fingerprints are identical. Therefore, we know that the key that we just downloaded is a valid key for the Qubes developers. Next, we need to download the release key, so the key that is used to sign this particular release. And as you can see in the file name in here, it says Qubes or 4, so this is the 4th release. So we can go down in here to get the command to download the release key, which is this command right here. So again, we're going to copy all of this and paste it in here. And you'll need to modify the X in here. So as you can see in here, it says X. You'll need to remove this and replace it with the release version. So again, this says Qubes or 4. This means it's the 4th release. Therefore, I'm going to type 4 and hit enter to download the key used to sign this particular release. Perfect. As you can see, this key is imported now. So right now, you can literally go ahead and use this file to verify the integrity of the image. But we can go further. This is an optional step, but it's good to just make sure that everything we're doing so far is valid and we haven't downloaded any wrong keys. So you can use this command right here to make sure that the signing key that we just downloaded, the second key, is a valid key for the master key, for the first key. So to do that, again, we're just going to paste the command that I just copied. And just like we did before, we're going to replace the X with number 4. I'm going to hit enter. And as you can see in here, this is the signature of the master key. So you can see in here, this is signed with Qubes master signing key. And if we scroll up all the way to the top, you can see that this is the same signature for the master key. So far we've imported the master key, We verified it using the fingerprint, then we imported the signing key, and we verified it by comparing its signature with the signature of the master key. So at this stage, we're sure that the keys that we downloaded are valid keys that belong to the Qubes developers. The last step is to use this signature file that we initially downloaded to verify the integrity of the Qubes image that we will actually use to install Qubes. So, as you can see, these two files are stored in my downloads, and right now I'm in users ZAID. So I need to navigate to my downloads directory. We can do that by doing cd downloads, and if I do dir to list all files and directories in the current working directory, you can see first of all I have the Qubes ISO image, and then I have the signature file. So we're going to use the signature file to verify that the image is valid and did not get modified by a third party. And again, the command that I'm going to use is identical to the command that we used when we were verifying the integrity of Tor browser. So we're using gpg --verify followed by the name of the signature file, which is this file right here. So I can just type Q followed by a tab, and it'll auto-complete for me, and I'll just need to add the .asc. I'm going to hit enter, and give this a little bit of time to check the integrity of this image right here. And perfect, as you can see in here, it's telling us this is a good signature from Qubes OS developers. This means that this file did not get modified since this signature was created by the Qubes developers. Therefore, we can go ahead and install it on our system, knowing that it did not get modified by any other third parties since it was released by the Qubes developers. Now, in the next lecture, I'm going to show you how to flash this to a USB and continue with the installation steps.